Hello, everybody. This is the Hokey Pokey podcast, and I hope you don't turn yourself around and you stick around because I have quite the episode for you today. So, today I have Reese with me. She is one of my friends, and we are going to be talking about the adjustment of dorm life compared to home life. And I feel like that is a huge overlooked aspect when it comes to going to college. So without further ado, this is Reese. I'll have her introduce herself. Reese?
Hello. Hello. As Colby said, I'm Reese. I'm from Wichita, Kansas, and I'll be attending for A State as a psychology major this fall.
I gotcha. I gotcha. So I had you do a survey, correct?
Yes.
And I had a few other people, I think it was 8 people in total that did this survey. I had 8 different questions with 2 sets. So the first set of people, I had answer questions relating to them going into college. And the other set of people, they are already in college, so they already have this somewhat under their belt. And they were able to answer these questions with knowing the knowledge that they know. So, the first question that I had was, what is the biggest worry when it comes into living in the dorms? Reese, can you remember what your answer was?
Yes, I do. So, I'm currently injured because I was an athlete and I played for Rangers during the summer. So, my biggest fear is more about accessibility and how I'm going to get around the dorm room on crutches when I've heard most of the time that, dorm room elevators are down. So, that was one of my bigger worries as someone who's been injured a lot. And then I was also just worried about like the adjustment because I've had my own room for about a year and a half now. So I was worried about the adjustment of going back to living with someone in a small quarters full time. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes. And a couple other people answered the same way. They were talking about how sharing a room with somebody can be definitely a scary thing to try and comprehend. And another thing that some people were talking about was how they were going to get out and how they're going to fit in with people. And their main fear and worry was just locking themselves in the dorm and not really going out and experiencing the college life. So, are you worried about that in that aspect at all?
Well, like I was really worried about that, but the way Hayes works is they do this kind of thing where they make you get out of your dorm room for the first 40 days as a freshman. So I think as I'm worried about it, I feel like that aspect of it will help a lot.
Yep. And the college that I went to, they had that as well. They called it the Welcome Back Week, and it was for a 2 week period where they had different things going on for different parts of the week. Like one day it was paintball, another day it was like a water balloon fight out on the front lawn. Just different activities to get everybody used to seeing each other, getting used to the campus, because there was like a I think it was like a hide the mattress thing or a capture the mattress thing. So you got to see all around the campus, and it's definitely something that helps when it comes to um, trying to fit in and getting out. So Reese, are you going to have a roommate, and are you
Yes.
excited to have this roommate?
Actually, yeah, I am excited to have a roommate. I've talked with her quite a bit over the summer, trying to figure out like who's bringing what. Are we theming our dorm? Are we doing anything? And I feel like that's been a lot of fun. But I feel like we also come from such different backgrounds because I'm from Wichita, Kansas, and I don't remember exactly where she's from, but she's like only 45 minutes out from Hayes. So she comes from like a small town, while I come from the big city aspect, and I'm kind of afraid about how it's gonna mesh.
Yes, and another aspect that I would like to add on that, there is, especially in Kansas alone, there is a huge difference between Western Kansas and Eastern Kansas. And a great example of that, one of my best friends, Gage, he is from Western Kansas. And I have friends from Kansas City that I used to play baseball with. And just the demeanor and the whole way that they think and talk and act is completely different. And that's mainly in part because of the big city versus small town aspect as well. And I was getting a little bit off course there, but that's all right. Um, do you think you'll become more extroverted or introverted while moving into the dorms?
Honestly, I think I could go 50-50 with it. I think some days I'll be like, oh yes, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go make all these friends. But I'm down will not permit and be alone because it's such a new experience for me.
Yeah, I can understand that. A majority of the people on this survey answered that they were hopefully going to be more extroverted, and I believe from what I've read, the common theme was that people are mostly introverted in high school. I mean, you'll have your select group of people, wouldn't you agree, that are very extroverted in high school, and I believe that college is a fresh start and a way to be able to explore more options, be able to get out more, and really enjoy the college life. I myself became a lot more extroverted. I didn't really do much in high school, and college was a way to be able to become more extroverted. So I personally became a lot more extroverted after that. Um, my next question, I'm gonna have two of them wrapped into one here for you. Are you excited to get away from your family? And are you going to miss living with them and being in the same hometown that you've lived all your life?
I said yes and no to this one because yes, obviously I'm gonna miss my family. Like I, they've been with me my whole life. I don't have a life where I'm not with all of my siblings, my grandma, my mom, and my dad. But also, I feel like in a way it's gonna be good for me to branch out and live on my own to really figure out who I am without the outside pressure of what my family thinks I need to be for them.
Yeah, I get that. I get that completely. So have you received any advice about going into college and trying to adjust to the college life? And if so, what was it and how did it impact you?
A lot of it was along the lines of don't fall behind, make sure you get out of the dorms. But the best probably has been that it's okay to call home if you need it. It's okay to be sad about college, and it's okay to miss your family. Because I feel like a lot of kids go and being like, well, I shouldn't miss my parents this much. I'll be
Yeah.
fine. I have a phone. But I feel like being told that it's okay to miss people and it's okay to be sad about it is really like help with leaving.
Yes. And that just kind of leads into another thing that I ask the people who are already in college. I ask them, how did moving into the dorms affect your relationship with your family? And a lot of people either said that A, it didn't change, or they became closer with their family, which kind of took me by surprise because I figured, living, that big distance apart, you'll start to, shy away from your family, you'll start to lose touch. And one of them said that their parents and them got really close and stayed with contact and called almost every day, even just it was to talk about little things. And they also said that it was weird not to see them every day, but in learning how to do things more independently was kind of a struggle, but they also knew that they were just one call away if they needed. And that is a huge thing to really realize is that our parents, they just want to see us succeed. I know my parents do. I know your parents do. And just to know that it's just one phone call away, it means the world to at least me. I'm sure it means the world to you, Reese. So, first off, parents, thank you out there. You are our rocks, and we wouldn't be here without you guys. So, shout out to the parents. Um, let's see here. So, let's get back on track. Spending habits. Okay, what is your spending habits week to week, and do you expect this to change?
So my spending habits, they tend to vary a lot. And not on purpose though. It's because I played competitive softball both summers, so I was working when I could, but I also wasn't spending all my money due to the fact that I knew I was going into college and I know I needed to save money, otherwise I'd go into college with no pay, which is not what we wanted. So there would be points and times where I would spend. Within like the next 2 to 3 weeks, I wouldn't spend anything. So they were very inconsistent to say the least.
Yes.
But going into college, because I have saved up so much, I'm really grateful for that. I think I want to maybe rely more on my meal plan than going out for food. I don't want to buy things unless I necessarily like have to have them. Like if I need new shampoo, I'll go out and buy new shampoo. But if it's like, oh, that top is cute, I don't want to just buy it to buy it.
Yeah. No, I get that. And I asked that same question to the people already in college. And a few of them said that their spending habits didn't really change. And some of them said that they ended up spending a lot more. This could include like fast food, like you're sitting there and you're studying, it's 12:30 at night, and you get the munchies, and you know Taco Bell is open until 1, you know? So you go and make a quick Taco Bell run. Or another thing that is huge for spending that's not really necessary is dorm decorations. Making your dorm space, your living space more home like, making it really just yours. And that all costs a little bit of money. So that makes it to where your spending habits are a little more too. So that's just something else to be able to keep in mind. And my last question that I had was, what was your sleep schedule like, and do you expect this to change in college?
I pray for my own health. That it does change. Over the summer, my sleep schedule did get a little bit messed up, but that was because I feel like during the summer it's hard to get on a consistent sleep schedule because you're out with friends or you're out doing things with people, and then during softball season, my sleep schedule gets even more messed up on top of that because of games. They're late night games. Some of my games started at 10 o'clock at night, so I wouldn't get home till 12:30, and I still hadn't eaten dinner. So it very much varied over the summer. But with me moving in about 12 days now, I'm slowly starting to like trying to go to bed earlier and wake up by 9:30 because none of my classes start before 10 o'clock. So if I'm up by 9:30 every day, I should be good in getting to classes and making sure that it's good. But I hope to be asleep by 12 a.m., 1 a.m. every night at college. I know college is crazy. It could be earlier. It could be later. You can never know.
That is true. College, it can really mess up your sleep schedule. I know it messed me up, especially starting the second semester. I started a part-time job where I had to get up at 5:15 in the morning to go to work and work a 10-hour shift, and then next thing after the Monday, Tuesday, the 2 10s that I worked, Wednesday comes around and I'm tired all day, but I still had to wake up at 6:30 to go to classes and stuff like that. Thankfully, last semester I had one day of the week where I could sleep in, and I will admit I took full advantage of it. I slept until like noon, maybe 1 o'clock in the afternoon on my Thursdays because I didn't have a class until 2:30. But I do have another couple of points to talk about. I know how we nailed on the head a little bit the questionnaires and stuff. Before I get into the other points, is there any questions that you would like to know the other side of the response? Like whatever somebody in college has already talked about and has experienced?
None that I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay. I will just add this in. The best advice that that they could give us, I'm sure that you would be willing to listen to some advice that they talked about. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Okay. So the first one, I like this one. They said their biggest advice is to not be afraid, even if it seems scary in the beginning, to try their best to speak to as many people as possible, meet as many people as possible, and it really does help adjusting. And I know that firsthand because when I went to a college where nobody from my hometown went to. So I was completely out on my own. It was one of the scariest things I've ever had to do. But within the first week and a half, I made 3 really good friends, and those friends made it to where I was more um, open with going out and hanging out. And those 3 friends turned into a friend group that was 10, 11, 12 people all on my floor. And that really did help with the adjustment because they not only were my friends, but they turned into my family away from my actual family. So it made it to where I didn't feel alone. I didn't feel like I was going through life by myself while in college because I had that core group of individuals that made college feel like home. And another person said to set boundaries and don't let anybody ignore them. I feel like boundaries are a huge thing, especially in new environments, new people, because people that you have grown up with, people that I have known since I was in first grade, second grade, elementary school, something like that, they already know boundaries because, the really close ones, they tend to push the boundaries. And trying to figure out boundaries for new people, I feel like just setting the boundaries to start off with just helps things tremendously. Another person said to remember that everyone is going through the same experience as you right now. It's like the first day of kindergarten all over again, but now you're on your own. So they said to branch out and meet new people. Oh, and don't forget to bring the cleaning supplies. Don't. And I I fell victim to that. My room was a mess quite a few times, and it took a couple of months to really adjust to regularly cleaning my room once every week, once every 2 weeks, sweep the floor, mop the floor, do something like that. Make it to where it's a clean environment. And another person to set ground rules with your dorm mate and communicate. I know this individual. They did have some issues when it came to that aspect, and it's definitely a lot easier to communicate with the person that you're living with. So make sure you keep that in mind when you start living with them. And that's all the advice that I had received from the questionnaire. My personal advice that I'd like to give um, is to mainly just not be scared. Um, and it is okay to be scared. Um, but at the same time, it's okay to do things scared because that just shows courage. And in order to go to college and be successful, you really have to be courageous when it comes to meeting new people, keeping up on your grades, trying to juggle everything all at once. It takes a lot of courage. And that kind of leads me into the other points that I would like to discuss during this video. Um, Along with juggling, work and school and friends, that all factors into time management skills. And I tend to struggle with time management a little bit, considering I work 20 hours a week. I was taking 15, 16 credit hours on top of that. I was trying to balance family time and friends, and I don't keep a planner. I just I wing a lot of things when it comes to my life. I don't plan out a lot. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow, for instance. And I would like to say one of the things that I had to learn was to try and keep a schedule, to try and schedule things out and really focus on getting your work done and having that take a priority. Because at the end of the day, when you go to college, yeah, you're there to have a good time, but you're there to get an education, and your education should really come first. And when going into your time management, your homework, your schoolwork, your projects, that should really take precedence over the fun things of life, like going out with your friends or doing different things like that. But the main thing that I had learned is that you tend to get your best work done when you're enjoying doing your work. And how do you make doing homework fun? Do you have any ideas on how to make work fun?
Well, I personally, I make music, and I know sometimes that's not like the best route to go, but I feel like music helps me lock in a way, and it keeps me more invested. And I just, with my major, I'm technically going into college as a sophomore, so I'm already taking all the upper level classes, and I'm not having to take like the basic classes. So I think that will also help me a lot to the fact that I'm not taking general psychology books. I'm not going in to take Comp 1 and biology with lab. I've already taken all that.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm going to jump back and then jump back to what you just said. One of the things that I learned that really helped me with my study tactics is we had a main lobby on my floor in my dorms. And that big group of people that I was talking about earlier, we would meet in that lobby. There was no plan of it. It was just whoever could be there that night was there. And we would we would be working on homework, we'd be talking through all hours of the night. I don't know how many times we stayed up till 12:30 or 1 in the morning. Just we were hammering out homework, we were talking, we were having a good time. Some people were playing board games. We'd have movies and music playing on the TV. So it was just a really fun and chill environment that made it to where you didn't really feel like you were doing homework. You know? You could sit there and you could have a conversation with someone while you're doing a math assignment, and it made it to where you didn't feel like, oh, I'm dreading this. It made it to where at the end of the day you are actually looking forward to it. And that is the one biggest thing about a study tactic and time management that I'd have to add to is not only are you having fun with it, but you have people to keep you and hold you accountable for working on that homework and those projects that are due. And to hop back onto what you were saying about taking college classes in high school, um, how many credits are you going into college with?
I think the total was, I think I was somewhere around 30.
30. I believe 27 or 28 is what I went into college with. So I got quite a few of your basic gen eds out of the way. And there are a couple of huge benefits that come with that. First of all, it's a lot cheaper. It's a lot cheaper to go through those classes in high school. than going out and going and doing it in college. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Yep. Then there is your excitement for going into college. I don't know about you, but I was a lot more excited to go into college because I was immediately going into the classes that pertain to my specific field of study. I'm going for mechanical engineering, so I took classes like statics, I took a CAD class, I took different things that pertain to mechanical engineering. And it made it to where I was immediately working on classes that I was passionate about. And I'm sure this will be the same way for you, Reese. You're going to be going in, you have a majority or all of the gen eds knocked out to where you're immediately starting into the field of study that you're going into.
Yes.
And I feel like that is a huge, huge benefit. So, for all of you watching this, maybe going into high school, sophomore in high school, definitely think about taking dual credit classes because not only will it take care of your classes in high school to get your high school diploma, but you're also knocking them out for college. And another huge benefit of that, it could literally take years off of how long you have to be in college. For me, I'm already through an accelerated program with an internship and scholarship that I have. So it takes a 4-year degree, smushes it down to a 3-year degree. This would be insane to think about because I would be taking 18, 21 credit hours per semester. And that is a lot without working 20 hours a week. So with going into it with the 27, 28 credit hours that I already had, that's like a year, 3/4 of a year worth of classes already knocked out. So it turned the 18 to 21 credit hours that I'd have to take, and it bumped it down to like 12 to 15 credit hours per semester. A much more smaller and manageable class load than if I wouldn't have done that. So that is another huge benefit. I don't know if it'll knock a year off of yours, or what will that do for you, Reese?
Supposed to graduate in 29 with my first 4 years, but now I'm currently scheduled to graduate in 2028.
See, folks, there you go. Take your dual credit classes while you can. It is a lot cheaper and it's a lot better option. Now, there is one thing with those dual credit classes that are something to think about. There is a huge change between, let's say, taking a dual credit class in high school online versus taking a college class in college. There is a huge, huge change. And I would like to say the main change of that is you definitely have to pay attention a lot more intently. You have to take more notes. And it might just be my field of study, but I have found that the classes I was taking in college versus the dual credit classes I was taking in high school, much harder. And I was a 4.0 student in high school, all throughout high school, all A's. This past year, I had a 3.54 ish GPA, which is nothing to sneeze at, but that just goes to show I was working the same amount. I was trying just as hard, if not harder, and I still ended up with a 3.5. Now, I'm not saying that it's not achievable to get a 4.0, because it very much is. There is a lot of people that I know that have a 4.0 in college, or higher depending on what type of grading system that they do. But for me and my capabilities, this was what I think the best that I could do, and I am perfectly okay with that. So that is just a pretty big change that you have to consider, because when I was taking those college classes in high school, I'm like, oh yeah, college is going to be so easy. I've got all these hard courses knocked out. I've got calculus knocked out. I'm good to go. boy, was I wrong. I wish I had me a year later talking to myself then, being like, no, it's not. But it's also not like it's horrible. It's enjoyable work because you're not just there because you have to be. You're there because you want to be. And that's what I love about college is you're very passionate about what you do. And lastly, I would like to touch on this subject before we go right back around to what this video was about. Going to a big versus small college. You're going to a bigger college, right?
Technically, yeah.
I'm going to a smaller college. My highest class size was 25, 26 people. And I go to K-State in the Salina campus. If you were to go to the Manhattan campus, you'll be seeing class sizes up to 100, 125 people. And that's a huge change because going to a smaller school, yeah, you'll have more one-on-one attention. You'll be able to have one-on-one tutoring, stuff like that. And I feel like going to a bigger college, it's a huge change. I don't feel like it'll be a big change for you, Reese, because you went to a bigger high school, correct?
Yes, I think we had 560 in our graduating class.
And I had 50. So that's another thing that your high school experience going into college has a huge effect on your adjustability. Thankfully, I went to a smaller school, a smaller college campus, and I like it because I feel right at home. I feel like, it feels like a high school. And I feel right at home. I feel like if I would have went to a bigger college, it would have been a bit of an adjustment trying to go into the bigger college. Now with you've already been there. You've had, big town experiences. Do you feel like adjusting to going to Fort Hays State will be a huge adjustment, or will it be a small adjustment just purely based on the amount of people that are going there?
I think adjusting to the small town will be different for me, but I don't know if necessarily that the campus will be all that different for me because there are more people on campus, but the small town aspect will be different for me.
That's understandable. That is understandable. So, going back to what we were mainly talking about, the main theme here, do you feel more prepared going into the dorm life now that we have talked, now that you have taken this questionnaire and you've heard other people's responses who has adjusted? Do you feel more prepared and do you feel less worried about going into it?
I would say I do 100%. I feel more prepared. I feel like there's less to worry about per se. Not that I was ever like stupid worried, but I feel like there's less to like be like, well, what if this? What if this? What if this? What if this?
I gotcha. I gotcha. Well, Reese, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you
And
for inviting me.
yes, of course, of course. I wish you all the best on your journeys, whether that be going to college, going into high school, whatever. And I hope that this video really does help you guys. Thank you guys so much.